It's one of the world's toughest endurance challenges. The longest ocean race around the planet. Yet its crew are drawn from all walks of life, spanning 3 generations. Many are novices before completing extensive pre-race training, but even this cannot prepare them for the extremes Mother Nature has in store. From hurricane-force winds to squalls that can knock a boat flat.
Just didn't see the wave coming.
And freezing temperatures to the blistering heat of the doldrums.
Think of Dante's Inferno and double it.
The toughest, wildest conditions imaginable. All within the confines of a 70-foot boat in the middle of an ocean, often soaked to the skin and suffering sleep deprivation.
I did wonder whether that might be it and whether I was going to come back.
The stage is set for a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. 40,000 miles, 16 races, 12 identical boats, 6 continents, 1 unique challenge. This is the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race. Another member of the team has a rather unusual issue to deal with in Sydney, involving the local wildlife.
Well, here in Sydney, we've come across something we've not actually seen before, and that is the local bird population, specifically the cockatoos, have taken a liking to our wind instrument. So, adding to my already fairly long work list, I've now got to go around and reconnect all of these wires and join them all back up so that the fleet are going to have wind instruments again for the Sydney-Hobart.
The sails are a vital part of any racing yacht. They are the only source of propulsion in race mode. The crew must maintain them, with some volunteering to make all sail repairs. Aboard Great Britain, that honour goes to London-based journalist Nikki Banks, who was also coming to terms with the tough reality of ocean racing, often spending hour upon hour below decks patching together torn sails. The build-up to the start, the boat launch in Trafalgar Square, and the excitement of parading down the Thames seems a long time ago.
I'm around the world now. It's amazing to be out on the water. It's been a really long wait. We've been, for the last 2.5 weeks, we've been doing a lot of prep on the boat. It's been a lot of hard work and long hours, but it's made us know the boat inside out. It's been a long journey to get here, but now we're finally here. I'm incredibly happy and excited and can't wait to see what happens.
Since then, she's sailed halfway around the world and has seen nature's most incredible sights and experiences. She's suffered enormous lows and tremendous highs, enjoying frequent race wins, and she's devoted herself to the task of looking after her precious sails. But it's a relentless and difficult task at sea, in a cramped and constantly moving environment that is taking its toll on her.
It gets me really, really sad when something happens to them. Ollie said to me the other day, it's like whenever something happens to the sail, you get really upset, and you can just see it because they're our engine and they need to be looked after, but I don't think that everybody quite understands how important it is. We have 11 sails on board, so they all need checking and going through. I mean, we had 74 knots of wind, but there's a lot of wear and tear on the sail. And you can imagine just how much force and pressure, you've got in the sails. Fan leg won the hardest. On day 3, day 4, we had really tough, very tough conditions. The wind was howling, it was deafening. It was so wet and cold, especially getting up in the middle of the night in your wet fowlers was horrible. And the waves were absolutely gigantic, smashing over the bow, over the side, coming into the cockpit. You just got absolutely drenched.
And she was once nearly washed overboard.
The sailbag was left, it was lashed down on the side on the guardrail, so I rushed up to the bow as quickly as possible, retrieved the bag, started making my way back. A huge wave came over the bow. There was so much water and it was so heavy that at that point I actually thought, God, there's a chance I could drown here.
Now, having reached Sydney, as a highly competitive racer, she's at breaking point after her team is disqualified in the previous race following a collision with another yacht on the start line. Her team had 12 points deducted, a decision that hit Nikki very deeply after their efforts to be overall race winners.
We crashed into PSP, so our bowsprit fell off. It was hanging down and we had to turn around and go back in. So from a motivational point of view, it was really tough because we really wanted to win. We really wanted to get 3 wins back to back. And we didn't know at that point, we didn't know what was going to happen. There's always that feeling at the back of your mind where you're just really disappointed, and it's really emotional because it's hard, We've just lost like 12 points potentially, so it's quite tough. Sorry. It is hard, but that's competitive racing, and we are very competitive. So I think you got to try and turn negatives into positives, and I think we'll be back fighting with a vengeance. So I think it's time for everybody to watch out because we're going to be working a lot harder than before, and you know what happened before. We won 2 races back to back.
The Great Britain crew have moulded together well and have tasted success frequently, so they have to move on and refocus their efforts after this setback. Fellow Great Britain crew member and former England Rugby Sevens captain Ollie Phillips has been a fierce competitor all his life and is revelling in the team's success, having never sailed before joining the race. In Sydney, he's challenged rivals from the Australian rugby team, the Waratahs, to a day on the water.
We've got 5 of the Waratahs boys out just to teach them a few of the ropes and what it's all about, and take them round the Harbour Bridge and show them, have a little bit of a race around, show them what the Clipper Around the World race is all about and what sailing's all about, really.
Up, back stay up, please. Russell got us out. Russell Fairfax told us to come out and have a go, and good group of boys here, and wanted to meet Ollie and sort of hear a few of his stories from around the world. So
I think we're pretty simple. You tell us what to do and we'll go right on doing it. None of the lingo's stuck, so if I was to become a legit sailor, I'd have to do a few lessons, I think. But yeah, today's been a great experience, yeah.
Yeah, Ollie was saying he'd never been near a sailing boat about 3 months before, and now he's an expert. He's out there telling everyone what to do, even a bit of the cruise.
They've been great fun. It's cool to see a few of them as well, because I've played against a couple, so it's nice to actually be in a bit of a neutral environment where it's not peacocking the whole time in England versus Australia. So, but a few of them have said, 3 days in the Hobart would be incredible. 30 days at sea is a different beast altogether, different challenge.
Christmas in Sydney is short-lived. Boxing Day heralds the start of the classic Rolex Sydney Hobart yacht race, a gruelling 600-mile, 3 to 4 day sprint for the Clipper race fleet entering for the first time. As all of the crew gather for the pre-race briefing, there's a tense atmosphere. Not only are there valuable Clipper race points up for grabs, but also the glory of Open and Clipper class medals within the Sydney Hobart race itself for the first time in history. For the crew of Switzerland, there is extra pressure. Vicky Ellis is the only female skipper in this edition of the Clipper race and could also pick up a special trophy awarded to the first female skipper to finish the Sydney Hobart.
We're just getting our final preparations in place. The audit, I think, is nearly finished and completed. So, as is all our branding, so we've been polishing up our hull, getting it looking good. So we're pretty well nearly there. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to pit ourselves against the rest of the competition, the rest of the IRC fleet. It's the first time the Clipper race boats will have actually competed against other yachts. So we're really keen to get out there and see what these girls can do.
And so the moment has arrived, as Vicky and the crew of Switzerland throw off their mooring lines, wave farewell, and begin to make their way towards what will be a packed start line. Thousands of people line the shore and crowd the water on a sunny Boxing Day morning to see this spectacular start out of the bay, with over 80 yachts all starting at the same time. The fastest maxi-sized yachts lead out of Sydney, and the Clipper race fleet and crews are soon in the thick of the confused water and racing hard with adrenaline pumping. The start of the race is everything Vicky and her crew have anticipated, with the 3 start lines watched live on television across Australia and around the world. Nerves are on edge, remembering only too well the recent collision on the Albany start line. With so many boats, the yachts are very close to each other, and Switzerland bears down on mission performance. Could Vicky's hopes of silverware be dashed early in the race, attempting to go astern of them, as Switzerland crashes into the yacht with Sophie Heatherton aboard? Luckily, damage is light, and it could have been a lot worse.
Switzerland didn't give water, or it appears that way, and when they tried to move to cut over the back of us, they picked the middle of the guardrail, just took one stanchion out, broke the guard wire, so we're just replacing the guard wire just to make it safe.
We've just rigged a line to replace what there was of the guardrails.
The safety line.
A safety line, yeah. So trying to make it as secure as possible.
Vicky accepts responsibility and opts for the statutory 720-degree manoeuvre, circling twice to effectively put her further back, but avoiding a protest committee later in Tasmania at the finish, as the race continues at full speed. She's no stranger to racing, as Vicky is a seasoned sailor and Clipper race training skipper.
When I was about 15, I went sailing with the Ocean Youth Trust up in Scotland, and I was about the only kid on board that week that wasn't seasick. So they invited me back the following year to see if I wanted to train up to become a bosun, which I did, and I pretty much spent most of my summer holidays at school and university kicking around in the bilges of the boats that they have up there. You know, I throw myself into everything 100%, otherwise, you know, I don't leave anything spare on the side for much else. There isn't anything on that boat that I can't do, and that's the important bit. So I can hoist a staysail on my own, for example. I can get head sails down, and I can get up the mast. My build-up to this race has been happening over many, many years, and I think getting myself in the position where I was ready for this race meant doing as much as I could with the same environment. The crew are good and they're great. My stance with all this is that I'm here to firstly keep them safe, and secondly, we'll have a good time. I did a lot of research into the role, what was involved, and obviously working with Clipper as well helped me to understand more about the company and the crew and what's involved. So yeah, I did my homework, and that certainly paid off.
As the race unfolds, Switzerland progresses up the leaderboard and at one point seems poised to win. But line honours eventually go to Derry Londonderry Durra, which wins this stage of the Clipper race. And there's jubilation aboard Great Britain as they take second place and 11 valuable points to start their fight back up the leaderboard.
The atmosphere on board, we're back to the old Team GB, and it was absolutely amazing. It was really, really fantastic. Everybody worked so hard, and you know, we got the result, just unfortunately not first, but I'm so happy for Derry.
Switzerland eventually takes 5th position.
So the race start was fantastic. great display of boats everywhere. We were in the middle start line, good fun. So we had to claw our way back from right at the bottom of the table again. So we did a bit of a Switzerland comeback. So in terms of our campaign going forward, I'm really hoping that we can kind of continue to build 5th place.
However, there's good news for Vicky, as she's the first female skipper into Hobart and takes the award.